What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Valorant Purple Rain, presented by Rockstar. We are so happy to have you all here.
It's
Yeah,
week 3 of the first ever women's only collegiate Valorant League. Excited to be back. Excited to have you all too. And to get this show started, we have a little bit of a pre-show. We're going to have 2 exciting videos, promo for Purple Rain. Enjoy your watch.
awesome. Well, I am Mackenzie. This is
I'm
my good
Micah.
friend Micah, and we are so excited to present to you this
Good
week.
friend.
Those videos get me so excited every time.
I hope you enjoyed. Without much further ado, we're going to get into our matches very soon, but
Yep.
until then, I think we can do a little bit of brief wrap-up. Like I mentioned, we're in week 3. And
Yep.
the teams in question, well, GCU, for example, is one of our teams. We're 1-2 throughout the league so
Yep.
far. So obviously that's exciting for everyone here at home. But we know
Yep.
we're going to play a clean-cut game of unbiased commentary, and they are playing against UCSB Red.
Yep.
And
So last week we took a look at the week 1 standings, and this week we have the week 2 standings to take a look at. I know that matches have already been played this week, but this is kind of a recap of the last week. So Carleton FE is currently 3-0, as is EAUCD White. The UCSC Navy and ASU Snaily Clan have only lost one of their matches. And then everybody else is doing pretty good. As we said, GCU Lavenders 1-2, and then UCSB Red is unfortunately 0-4. But maybe they turn that around this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am super excited to see the GCU girls play tonight. I know that there's been a lot of hype in our community esports. I know they do like little streams every time the Lavender team plays a match. They have a little stream that they watch
Yeah.
in the arena. So yeah, I am super excited to walk in there after
Yeah, like
after this stream
it's
to
a
the
very
excitement.
exciting night for everyone here at home, and I'm sure it's the exact same way over for UCSB Red. So it's exciting to get that drive going for both teams.
Yeah, the support is it's really cool, and that's really all what Purple Rain is about. It's supporting women in the gaming arena. So I think like all this excitement is really cool. But yeah, I think we can take a look at our teams now. We have, like you said, GC Lavender, UCSB Red, running the same composition that everybody's been running.
Of course.
We got 2 initiators on both teams, and a duelist, smokes, and a sentinel. So
And
pretty standard stuff.
captain of UCSB Red, Momo,
Momo,
and captain of GCU Lavender, GCU's own Tiana.
my queen.
Hey,
Unbiased. I'm unbiased.
Hey,
I'm unbiased.
hey.
I will not be rooting for any
Oh,
team
of
more. I
course.
just happen to be friends with Tiana. She's
Yeah.
but yeah, I think our teams are ready, so we might get into agent selection pretty soon. But just a quick recap of the rules: it is 1st to 13 in each match, and it'll be a best of 3 overall.
Yes.
So we could see a game 3 scenario. We could see only 2 games if one team does particularly well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm super excited.
It's like a 1st to 3, win by 2, best of 3 series.
Yep.
And how did the series shape up last week? Because I remember I wasn't here.
Last week was
recap of
pretty
that.
exciting. If I remember correctly, it was UCSD Navy versus Carleton FE,
Yep.
and Carleton is 3-0, so they
So
won.
I was like, since Carleton, I remember
was
the
like,
teams. So I was like,
I don't remember who won that one.
I remember
but
the teams, and it's like since Carleton
Yeah,
is
Carleton
undefeated, I
hasn't
imagine
lost.
they won.
But yeah, last week was pretty exciting. Tough watch through part of it, but
Really?
it was exciting matches. So I'm.
Because I remember in the first week where I was here, it was UCSD Navy versus UW Husky Phantoms X. That was definitely a very exciting match, and I'm really interested to see how the dynamics of both teams play out this week. If we're going to see close games, or one team or the other is going to take a 2-0 in the series, and just how those games within the series will go. Again, will it be close? Will it be a blowout? Could be anything. Anyone could win tonight.
Yeah, I'm super excited. In Valorant news, I guess there's been a new
That's a good.
agent added,
Yes, the
which
elephant in the
I
room,
I
the
love
gecko in the
Gecko
room.
so much. So he is broken. So I understand that some people are hating on him because his kit is busted, but I really like him.
A-
I win with him.
any game with like new characters, the character when they're added is just inherently gonna be broken.
Yeah.
It's kind of more so in like a if a character's like DLC than if it's like closer to a live service game, because in that case it's like you want someone to pay for it. Where it's like so it's like
Yeah.
any game where there's even a little bit of money involved, which is every game unless it's like
Yeah.
a browser extension. Yeah, like I guess in the no
Five
Wi-Fi
Nights at
the no
Freddy's.
Wi-Fi the no Wi-Fi dinosaur game.
Java.
I guess if they added a character to that,
Yeah.
that'd be fine. But yeah,
Be fun.
because it's like new additions to the roster are always going to be good because
Yeah.
no one sets out with the intention of making a character that feels bad and unrewarding to play and
Yeah.
has no advantage in the game state. So I understand why they're broken, but I also understand why it annoys the crap out of people.
He's definitely getting nerfed.
Oh yeah.
Like within the month.
That's how you do it, with games like Valorant and many other esports these days, where it's like like the character's released and they're super broken because you need to generate hype for a new character being added, and then you just peel back in later patches to make them more balanced and also to make room for the next character who's gonna break the game for a week.
Yeah, I saw I saw a tweet this week that was from like the official Valorant Leaks Twitter, and it was like the next agent's name is gonna be Cashew, and I was like,
Cashew. Well, this one was Gecko. So I mean,
or are we
it's in
doing?
line. Maybe it's in line. Gecko, Cashew. Is like a theme going on.
All I
maybe?
want though, okay, if there is an agent named Cashew, like as cringe as that is, they could make it up to me 100% by making a voice line that says, "I'm a cashew." I'm a cashew. Like I just need that. I need a voice line.
Well,
like
Gecko
that,
doesn't
and
have
it'll
one
be
that
fine.
goes, "I'm a Gecko."
Well, no, it's not like I am a cashew. It's like I'm a cashew, but I'm a cashew.
Ah,
Yeah.
you're clever.
See, because that would make it up to
Clever.
me. Because cashew, why would they name an agent cashew? But I do love Gecko. I like his little guys. I love little guys. We were talking about this before.
Well,
stream.
we were saying that we
I'm
love
obsessed
little
with little
guys.
guys.
Wingman, broken as he is, he's just
my
a little guy. How
little
can you be mad at him?
guy.
He's just a
He's
little guy who
awesome.
walks around and he plants the spike and he's like, I'm a wingman.
He goes.
Why, it sounds like the Mr. Krabs walking sound effect. You know what I'm saying?
No, Mr. Krabs is like a. Are you thinking of Squidward? Because Mr. Krabs is
yeah.
like a.
You're right, actually. Yeah, you're right. I'm thinking of Squidward. I don't know why I mix up their walking sounds.
I think it'd be really funny if Wingman did like the cartoony like. like this.
He's like walking like this.
Yeah, I need
like
Wingman to have the
a sneak
Pink
attack.
Panther theme play every time he goes to play.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
That'd be really awesome. But yeah, we're getting into agent selection now, so
Very awesome.
super exciting. I actually don't know what map we're gonna be on, so I guess we'll see.
We get to find out together. We get to find out with you.
Yay!
But yeah, it's very much like which means we're just close to getting into the games. You're gonna watch selection right now. We are heading to Fracture.
We've had a game on Fracture every time.
We didn't. I think it was game 2 first week, and then
Yeah, it was. I don't
Second week?
remember which.
Oh,
it might
okay.
have been game 2. I don't remember.
for
But
second week.
they did play on Fracture last week.
So now we can look at the actual agent selections on the block. It's actually never mind. I stand corrected because I was gonna mention there's actually a little bit of more character difference than in previous weeks. I'm
Yeah.
like actually that is not
Nope.
the case.
Only the duelist is different, which has been kind of
It-
how
that's-
it, how
that
it
is
goes.
I say that is very much like
Yeah,
the case so far.
it's.
You
I
want to
think
break down?
I do think Raze is really good on Fracture. So I will be interested to see how like the performance of the Jet versus the Raze, especially if it is kind of
Yeah.
even between the teams. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I heard that Breach is actually really broken on Fracture. Would you say that's the case?
He is really good on Fracture.
When I was doing my
because-
Valorant homework.
You're doing your Valorant homework. Yeah, his util just like the tight entrances to the sites, especially A, makes it really difficult to escape that breach util. So he's so annoying.
All right, getting really close to pulling up the game now.
Oh yeah.
Again, UCSB Red versus GCU Lavender. Exciting night for all involved. It looks like we will have GCU attacking for the first phase of the games, and with UCSB defending, obviously.
I am so excited because I think we're gonna see a lot of the new Oni set. Like I'm seeing GCU's KJ as the banner, which means she bought the package. So I'm excited to see all the pretty Vangos.
I love that video you showed me earlier. It was like, I have no money. Yay!
Yeah, it's this woman crying while she's buying the package. She's like, I have no money, and she's like sobbing, and then it just cuts to her whipping the katana out, and she's happy. Let's go!
She goes, yay!
Oh, the pink one is so good.
Dang, they're flexing.
Oh, it's so good.
They're flexing.
Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Dude, do you see when she takes it out, you see the reflection of the mask on it?
Yeah.
It's so
That's actually
cool.
very cool attention to detail.
It's $70.
Ooh. Is there a way to not pay $70?
You can buy, I think, specific things in the pack solo, but if you're gonna buy more than one, then it's worth it to just buy the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because like the katana alone is like 50.
All right, starting round 1 of game 1 of week 3.
First ever week 3 of GCU Valorant Purple Rain.
Which is the first ever
match of week 3.
First ever women's only collegiate Valorant League.
True.
Valorant series.
Real. Dang.
First blood.
Clean shirt.
Drawn by red team on lavender team. That means Lavender's now playing 4-5, down a lady already.
Down the KJ, which could make it a little more difficult, especially in post-hunt because you don't have a util to play off of. Raises nades could be helpful, but it looks like Lavender's gonna rotate out.
It's a little cupcake hanging off the gun.
There's a little cupcake. Ooh, the diamond buddy on the glitch pop goes so hard.
Yeah.
Holy cannoli.
Holy cannoli.
Yeah, it looks like UCSB Red is catching on, I think, about now that they've started to rotate, and we might see some contact here if they don't go ropes. 2 of them are going through their bridge, and there's a couple of the Lavender players there.
30 seconds left.
We may see a little bit of sneaky flank kills. As they kind of push up.
Wow.
Yikes! Just picked
that
off as they
member
try
of that member of Team Red was down alone 3-1.
Ooh, gets a kill on 5 HP.
Yeah, I say one of the members on Team Red was pinned down 3-1 and was able to take out all 3. Because I was about to call out. I was like, oh, you're getting flanked from all sides. That might be a kill for GCU Lavender. I was like, nope, you clutched up, took out your attackers, and then 2 more of your team came to assist.
Really good performance from UCSB Red that round, but it is only pistol. This puts Lavender at a little bit of a disadvantage just because they can't buy, and as you see, Red is able to get their Spectres, Jet as a Marshal. Makes sense. But it does put Lavender at a huge disadvantage because they're only working with pistols, while Red they have a Marshal and SMGs.
Drawing first blood can be very important.
Especially in the save round. As many picks as you can get is going to be like monumental for how the round goes. But it looks like we've got all 5 of Lavender.
So yeah, I was like the entire team Lavender pushing to A, but TSB Red is kind of peaking.
A couple of them are pushing up Sands. It looks like the rest are kind of hanging back main, waiting for that entry, making sure site's clear and it's safe. But UCSB Red is now rotated onto site. It looks like we're going to see them push through their spawn. And Lavender just has not been able to make contact and get on site yet.
Lavender is again playing at a disadvantage straight off the bat.
Yeah. Honestly, in the pistol round, as many picks as you can get, I think playing it safe here it's important to play it safe just because you don't want to lose a round, but with pistols, you might want to be a little bit more aggressive so that you can get into those closer range fights because that will give you much less of not an advantage, but much less of a disadvantage. I think going B here, the rotate's probably smart. It's just unfortunate that they have to rotate to B because there's a Marshal sitting. Ooh, taken out with a pistol. That That is really important.
I say that is
Lavender
super
getting on
important.
site here.
I say UCSB Red was kind of spread between both B and A, and they're now following all rushing B.
Dang.
And that's enough to defend against GCU Lavender.
That smoke from UCSB Red just really important there because Lavender has to push through blind.
I would say it was very critical. I would say it was very critical to kind of pinning Lavender to where you can't turn back now, but you can't rush a blind without having a lot of picks taken against you.
Yeah, they realized that if we rotate again, they're just gonna rotate back. So we have to push somewhere. I think BU is probably the wrong choice, but it's piss around. They got a couple picks. That's all you really need. Because now everybody gets a full buy. Well, now Lavender gets a full buy. I think UCSB Red's going to bonus off of their Spectres. So Lavender probably has better guns here. And getting that orb. That smoke is scary.
Yeah, it is definitely important for the sake of those buys to not have the because not only to win your round 1 or 2, but to not let the kill differential be so big that you're getting 5-0'd every round or whatnot, or 4-0.
Looks like we're seeing just some
some
stepping of the toes in the conflict. Tower and Arcade. Oh, throwing that nade up, pushing. Let's see if Raze is able to get a pick, and she is. Now Raze has made it onside. She's gonna sit tower and watch Jenny.
Lavender has planted.
Unfortunately, taking that onside. Now it's a 2v2. Brim is very
Game's
low
gonna
health.
get very close, and attackers win. I was like,
Lavender taking their first round on attacking side. First round.
yeah, GCU Lavender having just enough time to pick off the remaining members of the team before their spike even has to detonate.
Yeah, honestly, I think Lavender was at a bit of an advantage there, especially because they, after 2 rounds of pistol, they were able to buy full rifles, and UCSB Red could afford rifles probably, but they're going to want to save and bonus off those Spectres. But now both teams get to full buy.
As the buy phase ends, we move to round 4.
Looks like we got Raze going solo on BU, where 3 of UCSB Red's defenders are sitting. Putting up that smoke, Raze is grabbing ult, and she'll maybe she pushes out on. I don't know what the plan is.
I was gonna mention it. I was like, Raze was just sitting with her back to that hallway, just like kind of firing off shots. Threw out a little drone, then threw up smoke, and was just like, okay, clearly trying to bait in some attention.
Yeah.
While the rest of the team.
Because the rest of the team is playing very quietly on A main.
Yeah.
That KJ sitting top. We'll definitely see some contact here. That KJ set up right next to main, but KJ is taken out by Lavender.
Yes.
And as the rest of UCSB Red rotates through spawn, we might see some more picks here.
Yeah, so they had 2 members of UCSB Red planted behind cover, both watching that corner. One of them was taken out. The other was able to retreat, but that means that Lavender was able to plant and is building a lot of room for themselves in this round. All right, UCSB Red. Rushing.
Getting a pick.
It was actually a trade.
Yeah.
All right, UCSB Red does eliminate GCU Lavender with definitely enough time to.
Yeah, in that 2v2, Lavender was just kind of sitting on top of each other and made it really easy to pick off.
Both at the same time, yeah. UCSB Red came in with a good push and good positioning to, like you said, kind of mow them both down.
It's the Oni Vandal. It's so pretty. I wish I had more variants, but I do quite like the original ones. I think maybe keep the pink one and the white one, and then some more. Give me some new ones. Yo, Sentinel's Elite Sheriff is so good. Why does everybody have cool skins? Jealous. Actually, I just bought Origin today, so I can't really talk.
Always reminded me of the. Oh, we're not letting them. Just because of that, like, pronged, like, scorpion.
This is interesting. UCSB Red pushing up Arcade pretty early. Been making contact with 2 of getting 2 picks there.
I say 2 picks from UCSB Red, kind of just both mowed down while they unfortunately backed themselves into a.
Now the last 3 on Lavender, kind of sitting back main, waiting. hopefully for somebody to peek, but throwing that smoke up is really scary, especially because of what we saw on the pistol round. Just getting taken out immediately through that smoke. Looks like they're gonna go under, maybe go around, maybe go dish A. But just anywhere but through that brim smoke on main.
Yeah, I would say definitely a moment of tension for GCU Lavender. Down 3 to 5. Still haven't yet to plant their spike. Still a decent amount of time, but the spike here is and they picked it back up. But UCSB Red kind of still sitting pretty all behind the bridge, waiting for them to come in.
And now it's a 1v4. Brim is pretty low health, but that's not going to really make much of a difference. And there's some pistol. And she only has a pistol, unfortunately.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a nice try. I wonder...
It was a
Maybe she was saving for off.
It was a Valorant effort. Is that a thing people say?
It was a Valorant effort.
But cause she was close to taking one more pick because of someone who was up elevated above her through a doorway, kind of not really staying behind that ledge and peeking. But 2 who rushed in after makes it kind of clear that I think UCSB Red was have a solid chance of winning regardless.
Yeah. We've just seen pretty strong defense here for UCSB Red. GC Lavender's taken 1 round, but just UCSB's defense is so strong. We're seeing an A push here. Looks like 2. Yeah, 2 are going dish. The other 3 are going main. And we'll see. Oh, 3 of UCSB Red defenders are pushing up dish. We're gonna see a lot of contact here, especially as they round that corner and our attackers here.
Just about to mention,
yeah.
Lavender has just has all turned that corner and they're all kind of planted right on top of A, whereas UCSB Red have
all of that util. Now it's a 1v1. Brim is pretty low health.
Say honestly, this might be a nice opportunity to play it safe. Spike is actually still not planted.
Faking a plant. Oh, unfortunate. Just did not expect her from that other side.
Yeah, I was like to come around the other side and push up that aggressively. It's interesting because I was thinking, I was like, that's actually a decent opportunity to play it safe and wait out your opponent. But honestly, UCSB Red's last remaining member took the opportunity to just walk right up. They're like, all right, if you're planting now, I'm going to take advantage of you while you're doing that and just pick you off right away.
Yeah. But GC is taking a timeout, so hopefully we'll see them interrupt some of that momentum that UCSB is building up. Because it's 4-1, I think. Is it 4 or 5?
It is now 5-1.
5-1.
Because a strategy meeting is definitely warranted now that you're starting to slip behind. Well, because like they've taken a game, but you need to see how you can replicate pushing past that really strong defense that Red is putting up.
Yeah. It is interesting. UCSB just has really strong defense, and they like to flank a lot. So I think that's something definitely that GC Lavender should be looking out for. But UCSB is doing pretty much exactly what they need to be doing to counter how Lavender's been playing these games.
That was definitely a major factor of even the last game we just saw, where it's like they flanked from both sides, and then it was like GCU Lavender's kind of stuck in that corner, and they have the opportunity to like kind of stay behind corners and peek, but it gave a UCSB Red every opportunity to flank from both sides and kind of almost entrap them in that space, so there'd be no way to rotate them in and out. They were kind of forced to plant the spike and try and make that shootout work, and though it came down to the 1v1, UCSB Red still coming on top.
Yeah, it looks like we're gonna see. That's so many of UCSB's defenders sitting arcade on B. It looks like Lavender's gonna push B.
It's another 2-3 split. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the GC might be saving. Yeah, 2 of them have stingers, so definitely playing close range, pushing up a little faster may be more beneficial for them here, especially when UCSB can buy. Bring out that breach util, hopefully to bait a peek or maybe help him push up. But yeah, UCSB just 2 of them are sitting arcade, just waiting for Lavender peek out. They can hit those picks, but it looks like maybe we might see a rotate.
Unlike several games beforehand, UCSB Red is the team that's an agent on in this game. GCU Lavender gets the advantage of that. It actually looks like one of their members is about to get surrounded and taken off by the 2.
Getting that pig main means they have the entirety of site to themselves, and there are only 3 defenders left, and they're all pushing from spawn. They get this plant easy, and all they have to do now is get those picks as the defense pushes. Ooh, that is unfortunate. Racing in that smoke.
1v5, very tough position. Spike is planted, but they're not going to need it as GCU Lavender takes out UCSB Red.
Yep. And winning around, Thrifty, getting those picks, getting the plant down. They're a little richer now. But yeah, that was a really good round for Lavender. I wonder if they're going to be able to replicate that kind of aggressiveness, and yeah, we'll see. Looks like perhaps they're playing a little bit default, getting a pick maybe before they fully push any site. Because I think they've realized that if they 5-man push through main, it has not ended well.
Yeah.
So I think they're definitely playing a little slower, playing a little bit split, but it looks like Tiana's about to encounter 2 of UCSB's defense.
So I was thinking that you really don't want to push contact too early, especially if you are from the attacking side and you have a little bit more room to work with. If anything, you want to drain the clock.
Ooh, really good. GCU Tiana getting 2 of those picks, Arcade, and then getting ult point.
That's GCU's captain.
Yep, and Lavender now has all of A site to themselves. Tiana gets picked off B, but honestly that's okay because they're about to get the plant down, and they have sight. Very
similar. And the only remember UCSB Red is having to run across. First of all, having to run across the map. Second of all, getting caught in the hallway by the one member GCU Lavender that they've left outside of A.
Yeah, catching those flanks getting the flanks and rotates has been working pretty well for Lavender, so I think we're definitely going to see a lot more of the kind of waiting in corners and just waiting for UCSB to pass by, getting a pick off, and then entering site has been working these past 2 rounds in a row that Lavender's won now after that timeout. Apparently it was a really good timeout. Yeah. They had some good discussions about strategy.
It's been very effective strategy. Like I said, the strategy meeting was most definitely necessary when you were down about 4-1, 5-1. And kind of losing momentum more and more as the just really solid defense was having a tougher time to break through again like they had in that first game they took. But as you mentioned, it's definitely pulling through where they're already swarming B with UCSB Red lagging behind, potentially falling into effective offense.
Yep, so we've seen 2 fade ults now. All UCSB Red is sitting either Giant team, and Lavender just has sight so aggressively. I'm not sure.
And
GCU's going to be watching all of those spots where UCSB is going to peek from.
And 3v3 because of a lot of trades.
But with 3 ults in play on GCU side, it's looking good. That KJ ult from UCSB is definitely going to make it a little bit harder. But oof. Getting picked off, Arcade, Spike. UCSB does not have time to defuse here. They're going to save their guns.
That's what I was. That's exactly what I was thinking. Is that as UCSB Red was approaching, they were getting picked off more and more. So they don't really have the option to hang back because that Spike was getting closer and closer to blowing, and it would have been very difficult.
But that's 3 rounds in a row for GCU Lavender. UCSB has to save now, which puts them at a huge disadvantage just because GCU has that momentum, and now they get to full buy and UCSB does not. We might see a little bit of a stronger push, especially because
the economy's in shambles.
The economy is in shambles for UCSB Red, and yeah, I think we might see Lavender play a little bit more comfortably just because they know that upper hand. But it looks like they're gonna go under and catch those defenders in Arcade. There's so much contact here on
very
bridge.
heavy contact early on.
They're at that breach, and unfortunately the blind does not come alive, but
And even with
UC
that,
Lavender has sight now. They're going to get the plant down, and UCSB is still just sitting bridge because of how aggressively Lavender took Arcade.
that's what I was thinking, is that even with that heavy contact, like almost immediately right off the bat, there is still only 3v3, but GCU Lavender slipped right out of UCSB's grip, and they kind of have to now trudge all the way back across. Now the spike's already been planted. The clock is really ticking for them.
Red gets a pick there on main. It looks like they're gonna go push up main, but with that Killjoy ult, they are just not able to push out on site. They don't have too much time here to defuse, but if they stick it here and get the but with that KJ util, they get it to half, but they just do not have enough time to get that.
Clutch.
So yeah, really
Lavender
really
won. I was like total party vibe on both sides. It was almost hard to tell who was winning.
Yeah, the spike defused, so the attackers took that one. Really good round from Lavender there, especially because UCSB had to save. But yeah, no, both teams can pull by. I wonder if Lavender's gonna go back a little bit more passive. But yeah, looks like Spike and 2 others are gonna be going dish, and then we have 2 going main on A, where only 2 of UCSB is currently set. It looks like the other 3 of UCSB are going to push out B main and maybe get a little bit of flank action there on the 2 attackers going B main. But UCSB has sight currently, but it looks like we're going to see some of that fade util to get that info. And now all of UCSB is quickly approaching site here. 3 of them pushing up main, 2 of them are Sands. Oof.
One pick
that
taken from UCSB Red, and another taken right back from GCU Lavender.
That flank from main was really, really beneficial for UCSB Red. Getting another pick. Another one, and now it is a 1v3. Spike is down, which makes it really, really difficult for GCU's Rays to kind of bring this back.
Yeah, Lavender is pinned down to a 1-woman army. She's relatively far away from the spike with no supporters to help her get past, especially because UCSB Red is kind of just creating a wall between GCU's last remaining agent and
30 seconds left.
that spike that she desperately needs to get her hands on.
She's definitely going to carefully peek out of the smoke here, hoping to just at least get a pick, especially for the economy of GCU's economy.
Yeah, I was saying, using that smoke like that is definitely very clever, especially it's very necessary to
10 seconds left.
I say you kind of have to force. She definitely took out a pick first, but you had to still force that 2v1 because there just would not have been the time to retrieve that spike and plant it. So it's almost a better situation if you can just get as many picks as possible before you lose the round.
Yep, and now it is 6-5. This is the last round and a half. If GCU takes this, it'll be tied at half when they swap.
Right there.
Yeah, but honestly, even if UCSB wins this round, it's not a huge gap for both teams here. So
I said before we even started that I was excited to see that these games would be running closer for someone to get really buried in the lead, and I'm glad to see they are now neck and neck right before, like you said, the precise middle of the game.
Yep. UCSB Red is playing pretty well for a team that is currently 0-4 in the series. They're performing actually really well. Their
Like you mentioned
defense is
that.
really good.
Yeah, I think like you mentioned that that time it was absolutely crucial for GCU Lavender to keep in pace with UCSB Red, but UCSB Red is now showing that their defense has not wavered. They won last round. They're definitely set up to win this round. But GCU Lavender is still staying in the game, reminding everyone that she is still in it.
Yeah, it's a good pick there, bringing it to a 1v3 instead of a 1v4.
Find you.
Throwing out that fade util, trying to get info, and it didn't scan anybody, but she did see those shots from Canteen. It was just not enough, especially after that breach util. That's what we were talking about. It's annoying.
Yeah, I was just say I was like she was That was her util, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she used her util to try and gather information. And she, like you mentioned, didn't take it. She got the 2 sites from the right side, but then the member came in from the left and kind of just mowed her down as she walked down the hall.
Yep.
A little bit of peeking.
But now we have swapped sides, so DC Lavender is going to be defending, and UCSB Red is going to be attacking.
UCSB Red is now coming off of 2 wins in a row as they switch to attackers.
Yep. Not really a huge gap here, but UCSB Red is up in this half. Looks like GCU is setting up a little bit of a fade lineup, perhaps. But yeah, I am interested to see how the playstyle of UCSB's attacking looks compared to their defense. And that breach util. This is what I was talking about on A, because breach just is all the way back A main and managed to stun people all the way back in spawn. Pretty much. So UCSB Red pushing up. They're walking up, but a little bit of a faster push here. They've got 2 going arcade and 3 going main. GC Lavender is unfortunately sitting sands, so they're a little bit far off, especially to get those picks when they're coming out main. It looks like they've got 1 that's going to go dish, hopefully to get some. Like we saw a lot of that
So
from
the
UCSB
spike
Red
has
in the
been
first half.
dropped.
Spike is down, yeah, in main, which it's looking really good for Lavender, especially when they have the advantage in numbers. And UCSB Red, they do have 2, but 2 of their players are currently at they're not looking good.
Yeah, I would say they have they still have 3 players left, but 2 of them are low health, and now
so
it is
1v2.
2v1.
Enemy remaining.
Getting a pick there. She has Spike.
30 seconds
Let's
left.
see if she's able to get this pick or get Spike down.
It's definitely Lavender's play to just keep track of where Red is
Yeah, she's gonna
moving
throw that
to
molly
try and
hopefully.
push the clock. But spike being planted,
Yep.
that now puts the ball back in UCSB Red's court.
Yep. Now all she has to do. Nice pick. That was clean. And an ace there from UCSB's breach. I keep saying USB. I think both of us keep saying USB, and I think it's really funny. USB Red.
Your problem is that you were looking for a USB earlier. We were talking about USB. We were talking about USB-Cs right before the stream and how convenient they are and how you don't have one.
I lost my phone charger, and it's not.
Tisk
it's not USB-C like everything else in my life.
Tell Sean to come back and
let me in your room.
Give you the keys to his room.
But yeah, like a standard B push here from UCSB Red. A couple of them are going to be going arcade, but looks like the majority of GC Lavender's sitting on A currently. We might see some early picks here, especially arcade, because there are currently 2 watching there. Ooh, that was a really good pick, especially since she was on the ropes. It's hard to get that precision down when you're on the ropes, because it's a crazy movement. Yeah, UCSB Red has planted. They have sight. GCU Lavender is going to have to push out of these aptly placed smokes to get a pick. There's a good pick in arcade from GCU Tiana.
Okay, very nice pick from Tiana there, as Lavender is moving in. But UCSB Red still has a little advantage both in numbers and positional. Although Lavender's starting to move in just as well.
There was a 1v4. And unfortunately she got a pick, but was picked off herself before she was able to.
And so fortunately for Red, they are now, I believe, is that 4 wins in a row?
Yep, that is 4 wins in a row for UCSB Red. Yeah, we're going to see, it looks like they're going to bonus a little bit off of those Spectres. And I believe after the first 2 rounds of losing, I believe GC11 can buy now. So we're seeing the same kind of thing play out as it did in the first half, where UCSB Red won the first 2 rounds, and then GC Lavender was able to pull by, where UCSB was bonusing and take the round because of that advantage.
That's what I was thinking with Red pulling 4 wins ahead, like just 4 in a row, is that it might necessitate another timeout from Lavender, even though Red has not had to use any timeouts so far, because Lavender definitely needs to, again, have that same kind of strategy meeting where they sort of make sure that they're all on the same page so they don't fall behind too far.
Yeah.
Because it's getting into that territory, especially as the game is progressing to the late game.
Definitely, if UCSB Red is able to pull out a couple more rounds in a row this half, I anticipate, if their mentality is the same, I anticipate another timeout here from GCU Lavender. But they were able to turn things around quite well after their timeout in the first half.
That's what I was thinking, that it might be necessary, because as you mentioned, that the flow of games is going very similarly in terms of UCSB Red pulling ahead, Lavender on their back foot, but that gives them the opportunity to buy after a few consecutive losses. And so all they really need now.
4v3, so we are seeing that weapon advantage play out a little bit. It's a 3v2 now.
30 seconds left.
Picks just really quickly there.
Spike planted.
GCU Red has
One
planted and
enemy
is now a 3. Ooh, there we go. And GCU Lavender is going to be able to defuse that spike and take the round.
Oh yeah,
really
plenty
good
of time to defuse that spike.
Yep. This is exactly what we're seeing in the first half, where UCSB took 2 rounds and then they bonus off their spike. GCU Lavender was able to full buy and take that 3rd round. It's an interesting pattern that has happened.
They're showing they can do it without an overtime.
Yeah.
Or timeout. Yeah.
Yeah. Without that timeout.
Maybe
especially 4 rounds in a row is a lot, but because it was split up into the 2 different halves, strategy meaning probably not necessary until they get those 4 in the same.
That's what I was thinking
half.
was interesting, is that of the 4 wins, the first 2 or is the first 1? Essentially, basically the win streak started while UCSB Red was still defending, and just continued into this next half.
It looks like GCU Lavender, 2 of their defense is going to maybe push out Dish, get a little bit of flank action there on UCSB Red as they push Arcade. I believe Spike is going main. Yeah, 3 of the attackers are going main with Spike, and then got 2 I believe getting picked off in tower, but maybe traded. KJ's blind. She's going to get pushed pretty hard. Yeah.
Not quite a trade yet, but it is now 4-4, so it will be picked shortly after.
And as they get the plant, this puts GC Lavender at a time crunch now, so we may see this. UCSB Red has the upper hand right now, especially with Spike down, and I see a pick here. There. Oh no.
Yeah, UCSB Red definitely not having to worry too much about forcing a shoot, as they can kind of just hang back and wait for Lavender to walk towards the spike. They are kind of getting forced, especially now as the clock is ticking and ticking and ticking.
Yeah, if they're not able to pick off UCSB's Brimstone, but yeah, no, that was really rough. Even if GC Lavender was able to kind of get the defuse while people watched, that Brim ult was going to be really difficult. And we are indeed seeing a timeout from GCU, especially after UCSB Red taking so many rounds and a half already.
Yeah, I would say UCSB Red has taken vast majority of the rounds in this half, and as you mentioned, that strategy meeting did wonders the first half. It might do the same here, especially as we are moving to, like, UCSB Red, as far as they're concerned, their current mentality, they're in the late game, they're in the end game. They are very rapidly approaching that golden number of 13, whereas Lavender is still pulling back.
Yeah, they only need to win 3 more rounds to pull out the game.
Yes.
And Lavender will have to stop that and then win 7 more games.
So they will have to win 7
more
rounds
in order to take the first match. But yeah, it's interesting seeing the same pattern play out in the second half as it did in the first.
Yeah, especially because now that we're seeing this timeout, it's literally exactly the same.
Yeah, literally exactly the same thing that happened in the first half. But I wonder if GC is going to be able to. Because if it happens exactly as it did in the first half, then UCSB Red is going to win the game. So Lavender has to kind of use his timeout to take it a little more strong.
Yeah, because even after the very heavy push we saw by Lavender after their timeout, they brought it back to even. UCSB Red still took the half, and we could see that play out because of the heavy advantage they have right now.
It looks like UCSB is playing a little split. We have Spike going A, where all of GC Lavender is currently. So this is just a really advantageous, unfortunate coincidence where UCSB is pushing A pretty strongly at this point, and GC Lavender just is not there.
As they only took one, and they only took 1 pick off of UCSB Red, and it's not really affecting much yet, as the whole team was still pinned to B and is now having to vacate across the whole map.
Now they've got Spike down, and all the rest of 4 of them are going to be pushing through They respond there, so UCSB Red kind of knows where to look,
Yeah.
especially after getting a pick there, seeing all of them.
Especially as that member of UCSB Red took out a pick and really brought it back to even, especially after Spike has already been planted. That's going to make it really tough for GCU Lavender. Like I said, the clock is taking more and more, getting picked as they try to defuse.
Good picks there from Jet, but she is blind and on 3 HP, so she peeks out here might not be too good, especially with that Killjoy ult. Then they're not going to get the defuse, unfortunately, but
the attackers win by Spike actually detonating.
And UCSB's able to save 3 of their guns here, which puts them at an advantage because GC Lavender, they can pull by, but it is not looking pretty. So if they lose this buy round, then they will be pretty poor next round.
Yeah, I believe that's the second actual detonation we've seen in the game so far, with the first being that one was the very clutch match where both teams got completely wiped out by the very end of it.
Yep.
All right, we are moving into this next round though, and the action is keeping as packed as ever with Lavender behind 1H.
Yeah. But here, seeing that contact a lot on B really early. UCSB has sight now, and it is a 3v5 situation for UC Lavender here. They're going to be pushing all from the same spot.
I feel like
Classic
being
Valorant.
down when you're in defense is even tougher when you're down in attacking position, because like I said, you have that additional second task of having to defuse Spike after it's planted.
Whereas
you then
like
have
if you're attacking, you like only really have to worry about, the only thing you were forced to worry about is saving things because you don't actually have to plant. Spike, we see that Brim ult playing post.
As we've seen play on this year before, there's like there were those very clutch situations where
KJ's gonna put her
we had like set way earlier in the round.
Yeah,
very clutch situation.
They're not gonna be able to get the defuse off, but I know that they're gonna be able to save in time, and they are not. Nobody is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
As I was mentioning, so UCSB Red does take the game. That leads us to match point, but as I was mentioning, we have seen some of those clutch situations where when you're on the defense, you kind of have to decide, like, okay, do I take this 1v3 or 1v2?
Yeah.
Or do I try to defuse? And I can't defuse when I'm pinned down by 3 different people, and I don't have the time to defuse because I've been pinned down for so long now.
Yeah, it's just
a tough decision to make.
Really strong plays from UCSB Red all game, but GC Lavender now, we're in match point, and unfortunately GC Lavender is having to save this round, which puts them at a big disadvantage, especially because UCSB Red has that momentum. They
this is
only
the match
have
point.
like this. They win this round, they win the match.
Yeah, saving is not where you want to be when you're on match point. With again still 7 games to go before you can take a win yourself.
Yeah, UCSB just now pushing out onto site while UC Lavender sits back in spawn. Brimstone getting a pick there, maybe throwing down her util to protect that first plant if she can stay alive that long. Yeah, we were seeing GCU push out a little cautiously because they know this is match point and they've had to save. It's a very scary situation, and it is a 4v5, so they're down in numbers, so it's just not looking great. Picking off Brimstone there, sitting on Spike is going to be really, really beneficial, especially if they can get that last one sitting under.
As we mentioned, GC Lavender is now far behind in picks.
Getting another pick. It is now a 1v3 instead of a 1v4, but the last 3 are watching Spike, and she is not able to get the pick.
Yep, that's what I was thinking. I was like, she's not gonna have the time anymore to defuse that Spike. UCSB Red was all watching her.
Yeah.
And that is going to be UCSB Red taking the first game of the series.
First game between UCSB Red and GCU Lavender in first ever week 3. First ever
For women's only.
GCU Valorant Purple Rain series, which is the first ever
women's only
collegiate
Valorant
Valorant League. Presented by Rockstar.
It is interesting with UCSB Red now taking the momentum in the series as well, not only the game, because as we mentioned, they are 0-4 in their record so far, and so they are trying to aim for their first win of the series tonight, whereas GCU is trying to even out their record with where they would be coming off 2-2 if they win tonight.
So I'm interested to see what the next map is, our team comp, and how GCU is going to turn around this it's just really good momentum that UCSB Red has been able to build up. I'm interested to see how the playstyles kind of adapt to the new map and how GCU is going to kind of change up how they're playing, especially after losing that first game, because if they lose the second game, then they lose the matchup, and unfortunately they
Yes.
will be, I believe that's 1-3 in the series.
Yes, they would be 1-3 at the series if they lose, and UCSB Red would be 0-5.
Mm-hmm.
So Red's team is aiming for their first win, and as I
Mhm.
mentioned, Lavender's aiming to even out that record.
Yep. So UCSB is going to be gunning pretty hard
Yes.
for this game here.
And that's why I said it's so interesting that they're taking the momentum in this series.
Yeah.
And it's further been demonstrated that GCU had very good, it was very clear they had very good player communication because with those timeouts helping them kind of take out the lead that UCSB Red was taking, it helped them push back and
Yeah.
try to break the games more even both times, but especially in the first half. But it was shown by Red Team that it was not quite enough
Yeah.
because UCSB Red's defense and then especially offense was still very hard to shake up.
Yeah, UCSB has been playing incredibly well for a team that has been doing so poorly in the series. Honestly, that was a really strong game, especially coming off of an 0-4 record.
And it came up a second
impressive.
ago, so I feel like it's a good time to mention. Not only are both these teams playing really hard to win this series, everyone
Yes.
in the series is playing very hard to win a $5,000 prize pool.
Yep.
Excuse me, sorry.
Very exciting.
Which was presented to us all by Rockstar, our lovely sponsor. So here's a nice read from our sponsor. 1 bottle a day keeps you awake the whole day. Rockstar Energy keeps you awake while feeling like a rock star. Rockstar comes in many different flavors such as zero carb, extra and super sour green apple, and fruit punch, and many, many more. Stop by GCU Esports to grab yourself a Rockstar. Now I have to say myself that fruit punch flavor is my favorite.
It is pretty good. I am a very basic person, so I do prefer actually the zero sugar flavor is the best because I don't like all the fruity stuff. But Rockstar, they have such a wide array of flavors.
Do you mean the super sour sugar green apple? Or no, the other one?
Nah, the zero sugar of the
you were saying you're basic.
normal.
I do like the fruit punch. It's the fruity flavor you mentioned.
I do like fruity flavors sometimes, but not in my energy drinks for some reason. Because I do I was eating fruit snacks before stream started. I was eating fruit snacks. I love fruity flavored things. I love fruit punch by itself. But for some reason, my energy drinks I don't like it that much.
But yeah, thank you very much for listening to that message from our sponsors.
Yep.
This whole event could not have been done without them. We are 100% presented by Rockstar. They are entirely funding that $5,000 prize pool, increasing the fact that this is just a historic event as the first ever women's only Legion Valorant League.
It's so cool.
It's very cool to be here. I've mentioned before, I am very proud and humbled to be a part of this. I'm sure you are too.
Yeah.
And it's just very nice that we can commentate for the games of all these wonderful players who are really pouring their heart and soul into the game. It's not just for the $5,000. The $5,000 is a very, very, very nice cherry on top, but it is also just for the love of the game, which you always love to see them really put that passion into.
And we do love the game. So yeah, I'm super excited. Map 2 is going to be Haven, which
very
is
interesting.
I would say it's very different from Fracture, but I think we're going to see some of the same kind of plays maybe from Fracture. There are 3 sites on Haven, so it's definitely going to be very different, but just because of the size of the map and the way that it is kind of built up, especially with all those areas to flank and be kind of sneaky, we might be seeing a very similar game to the first one. It's just all a matter of who is able to kind of pull in the reins a little stronger this game. First ever game 2 of week 3.
You love saying that first ever.
It's
pretty fun. It is. It's like
accurate.
I said,
it's real.
I cannot say enough how historic this event is. Valorant obviously being one of the biggest esports in gaming right now, and we just love to be able to support women in gaming, and that's why GCU is so glad to bring this to you, and Rockstar is so happy to present GCU's efforts here.
Yeah, but super exciting. What are your thoughts on Haven?
As you
know about Haven?
As you mentioned, well, you said 3 sites as compared
Yes.
to the previous maps 2.
Yes.
As you mentioned, very different. What's the word?
Very
Dynamic of gameplay is what I'm saying. The
Yeah.
dynamic, very different dynamic that we're gonna see play out. But like I said, it's hard to compare that to the fact that we're probably just gonna be following that same momentum throughout the game because we already saw it repeated twice. Why not see it repeat 2 more times within the next halves of game 2, where I kind of expect a dominant start from UCSB Red, a nice follow-up by GCU Lavender to really rein in close, and then perhaps UCSB Red to continue trying pulling out on top. Of course, you know, GCU Lavender, we want to see them pull out. We're definitely rooting for them, but it's just interesting to see so far that UCSB Red has this first game.
Yeah.
GCU Lavender, however, definitely hoping to take this game and push for a game 3 in the series, which would be very exciting to see. Like I said, everything out on the line.
Yeah, we're seeing
I do love Haven aesthetic.
kind of a Haven is
I
really
have to
pretty.
say, we were discussing that last time. I was like,
Haven is really pretty. I do like the vibes.
I would say the architecture is I'm a sucker for it.
But yeah, we're seeing a little bit more of a different team composition here, as a duelist is different, and actually,
I say, nope, they're still switching it up.
Yeah,
You
wait.
spoke too soon.
wait a
I do
second.
understand that GCU Lavender is starting defending.
Yeah,
this time
we're
with
seeing
UCSB
a
are
little bit
starting
of,
attacking.
so the differences between the duelist and one of their initiators, that did change up a little bit, as we saw a Sova originally on CSP Red, but they have locked Breach, I believe. But yeah, so Ray's Omen is really good on Haven. It's one of his best maps. Haven is just really good for those Omen smokes. It's gonna be we're gonna be seeing a lot of smokes here from both teams. As it is super important to be controlling movement on a site that is so big and has so many sites and points of entry. We're also seeing a Killjoy, which is also really good on Haven, a Sova on GCU Lavender, and we're seeing a Breach on both teams. So it's going to be interesting.
So they finally locking in their picks as we get ready to start game 2 of week 3.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, GCU Lavender definitely hoping to push to that game 3 scenario, which will make it really hard to tell where this is going, as we see that these very evenly matched high skill players really battle it out. That's a funny starting image. All right. Now we get right into it. Well, we get right into the buy phase, but not much to say.
No, we're getting started right
game
now. Seeing a lot of contact early on B site. But yeah, we're gonna see that KJ setup on C. Pretty standard stuff.
It's interesting because I'm so used to watching Fracture for this series now. It's really nice to see Haven mix it up.
Yeah,
where
it's good to see different colors.
Yeah, no, I just mean like where you have A on one side, B on the other, and it's pretty simple. There's lanes on the top, and then there's a middle with a lot of that corners to peek around. Whereas here you have the 3, and they're all on kind of the top half of the map. It's more of like vertical.
Yeah, there is a lot more space. In pretty big.
That's kind of what I mean. That like. It feels like it just frees up the room for everything. Like I said, it's very non-standard compared to how Fracture plays out. Fracture makes a lot of sense in terms of balancing for a game in esports, whereas this is like I kind of like it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. We're seeing a pretty strong C push here from UCSB just right off the bat. That KJ util is there, but they're able to kind of work around that, while GC Lavender is preparing to rotate. Looks like.
It's funny because I was just about to call out the fact that in Fracture you have rotations a lot. I especially experienced that first week of GC Purple Rain. My bad. I was like the first week.
Purple Rain.
Yeah. I was like I especially experienced it the first week of Purple Rain of how rotation heavy that is. You better watch that first week. But it's like rotations just are very different because, like I said, there's also like lateral movement.
Yeah. UCSB Red taking the first round on attack. Yeah, I mean it's pretty standard pistol round. One team's gonna win. Pretty strong. But now UCSB Red's
that's what I mean.
able to get
It's like I could say like like I said UCSB were taking the early game, but I was like there's really not.
They did it. They won the round.
But there's really not much to comment. Yes, because I was like it is true that so far it is following. What we saw in the last game of UCSB Red pulling ahead, but only the first game. Definitely nothing for Lavender to keep themselves down about. Even they just want to make sure they catch up fast so they don't fall behind in the buy economy, really.
Yeah, we're seeing another strong C pusher from UCSB Red. Definitely a little bit different to how they were playing on Fracture. They definitely played a lot slower on Fracture, so seeing this aggressive pushes, especially just within the first 2 rounds, is really interesting. But it looks like we're going to see some contact there, CT, as 2 of Lavender's defenders are kind of trying to peek out, get a pick, and then move on site. But with pistols, it's going to be really difficult, especially when they're not kind of right up on them.
Yeah, you mentioned that UCSB Red playing a lot
Dang,
more
getting
aggressive.
2
Wow.
picks. So that spray transfer was crazy.
Oh my goodness. You mentioned earlier about UCSB Red playing a lot more aggressively, and that's something I was talking about, where it's like it's also interesting how the dynamics changing because of just which positions they're starting from. It's definitely going to affect their game plan.
Hey, look at the pattern of what's happening, Micah.
It's
It's the same.
well, I mean, we discussed that between games that Lavender's definitely gonna want to, if they want to win this series or at least force to a game 3, they definitely need to kind of catch wise of what UCSB Red is trying out and executing earlier.
It looks like UCSB Red is playing. I cannot say UCSB for the life of me that quickly.
You can say Red.
Yeah, Red is playing a little bit more split. They've got 1 person going mid, 1 person sitting up C-long. It looks like they're playing a little bit default, looking for a pick here to kind of move off of, waiting for that info so that they know where it is kind of safe to go. Shooting at that Sova drone, but he's already got the info. Jump peek window. Yeah, they're definitely looking for information before they push too hard on a site. Looks like maybe Red is shifting over towards A, which is going to be a little unfortunate because I don't think that they realize that 3 of Lavender's defenders are, well, 2 of them are there. But we might see some contact mid here between the KJ and Alvin.
Yeah, UCSB Red is.
Yeah, getting a pick there on B, and KJ might.
They're taking a pick and pushing to A about the same time.
Because
Spike officially planted.
2 of Lavender's defenders are pushing through B. KJ has gotten 2 picks on B now. I hopefully expecting the 3rd, maybe getting a pick there, but yeah, getting in 3 kills on B. KJ is doing very well from UCSB. While they have all of sight, and Lavender is kind of stuck. CT getting that blind and a pick, and unfortunately they are just
a trade is not going to be enough when you're already down 1 to 5. It just means you're down 0-4 now.
Yeah.
And you know, we said before that Lavender's definitely going to have to latch on to what UCSB Red is doing, and they were doing such a good job at adapting. I think that's why it makes sense that UCSB Red would like favor a map like this, where it's so different from Fracture.
Yeah.
The case where it's like you kind of can't keep a read on how they were playing before. Like you mentioned, they moved to a much more aggressive position now that they have a lead.
Yeah, and I wonder how the economy is looking here. It looks like they can buy SMGs, and yeah, UCSB is able to full buy, which definitely puts them at an advantage. We were seeing a pattern this game playing out a little bit differently than it did on both halves of Fracture, as GCU lost the first 3 rounds instead of just the first 2, and then taking the 3rd. Taking one for the team, getting that plant down and then taken out by a raise grenade, while 3 of Lavender's defenders are going to be pushing from A link onto B. Just kind of choked here, especially with that breach ult, not quite reaching them, but delaying their entry a lot.
That's the thing. The breach ult doesn't have to buy any picks; it just has to buy time.
That's it's a lot of util dumping there from UCSB Red, and yeah, Lavender's not able to get this down.
We saw UCSB Red play a similar once before in the last game, where they literally
she's able to stake it and wins, and gets another pick. She doesn't have to stake it; she's a Spectre, but trying to get as many picks as she can, take out as many rifles as she can.
Very nice play back from GCU Lavender, like we mentioned. It's kind of that back and forth that we've been seeing. Will GCU Lavender be able to keep pushing that momentum and kind of even out earlier? Like I mentioned, is so necessary if they want to win this game.
Yeah, it looks like GCU is going to force here because they don't want that disadvantage to stick with the Spectres. It looks like they all full bot. I saw one Stinger, but they might have bought anyways. But yeah, UCSB Red is perhaps going B or a mid-C push, maybe playing a little bit default. But we are seeing a lot of contact mid, especially as Lavender kind of pushing up mid window. I see that Raze and Omen is watching B. While it looks like UCSB Red, we've got a couple pushing up A, but Spike is currently default right now. So interesting slow play here, but it is working. Nobody's gotten a pick yet, so they don't quite have too much information.
So yeah, they're peeling back from that aggressive push that they were putting out the first 3 games. Now that they are from the GCU, Lavender is a game up. Seeing a much slower, much more patient game from both sides. As Lavender is getting out, we finally see some first gun.
He's gonna throw out that trimmer into the team there behind box. Unfortunately, just barely missing her. But Red is able to get the plant down, drop that KJ util to protect it in post, and Lavender is rotating now on site through looks like Heaven and CT mostly. They have one main, getting a pick main.
Spike definitely added. Spike being planted definitely helps Red a lot by starting that clock after already pre-plant phased out so much. Lavender really has to feel some pressure right now. They are up in Raze 4v2, now 3v2.
Yeah, Lavender's Raze has got 2 picks on the flank, while Omen is sat back main. It is not.
They are starting to defuse.
Getting that kill with the Raze
starting defusing, if only just to, well, obviously to secure that win condition, but also doing the secondary great job of luring out one more pick to get a team wipe on UCSB Red, just to honestly bolster their chances of keeping pace in the economy.
Yep. And honestly, in a 1v3, like, they just stick it. So that was a really good round from Lavender there.
That's the thing, is the one remaining member of UCSB Red either had the option of trying to win a 1v3 whilst kind of being pinned down, really.
Yeah.
Or just
especially with that smoke, like, just going up as
it's essentially you either if you recognize that you're probably about to lose, you always try to win. You can either
it's just kind of like take as many of them with you.
That's what I mean. Is that you can either push as many picks as possible or try to preserve your own pick.
Yeah, and honestly, if they have the eco to do it and still by the next round, then it's just worth taking as many as they want. But that KJ util does not delay the plant at all. UCSB Red is able to get that down. KJ Molly is just not quite placed in the right spot.
UCSB Red, again, another pretty, honestly, a much earlier plan than last round. It's showing they're really not scared of all of what Lavender's pushing, but Lavender is pushing.
And that Omen smoke is gonna be very useful, especially delaying that push from the 2 defenders. Currently, peeking out of smoke, CT getting a pick. That Omen smoke there is unfortunately not good enough against the breach util that just does not allow them to kind of spray through that smoke. This is not the best scenario. The smokes, like I said, they're doing really good with the smokes. It's a good Omen map, and they're doing pretty well. Yeah, the smokes have been just really critical for the fate of the round.
Yeah, I was
either side.
This was gonna say, I was like, which you're saying both teams are making pretty critical use, or would you say there's one who's pushing out a better advantage with their use of smokes?
So obviously, Red is
up.
They are up by 2 rounds, but I think honestly both Omens have been able to kind of use their smokes like just the way that they're supposed to, like in the best way.
That Lavender is doing that critical, critical action of keeping pace instead of falling behind. So we're not seeing quite like what happened last time, where UCSB Red would pull decently far ahead and Lavender has to play catch up. As Lavender's now keeping it pretty even despite being 2 rounds behind. They're kind of more trading rounds.
Oh, jumping right into that caging line. Not funny. Yeah, they have all of sight. It looks like Lavender's still kind of meandering their way over. See some contact taking out one in mid. Good from Tiana here. And they are going to kind of congregate in garage here, looks like, and all push together, especially 3v4. It's not the hugest, it's not the biggest numbers disadvantage, but it is important to play together, especially when you're at a disadvantage. And unfortunately, it was just not not the play that worked, as Red takes
Yeah.
that round as well.
So
It
yeah,
is now 2-5.
Yeah, so yeah, rounds now 5-2. UCSB Red's favor over GCU Lavender. Can GCU Lavender continue to catch up? Like I said, they were playing pretty even, but now they are now 3 rounds behind. With I believe 2 in a row from UCSB Red, they are going to have to adapt fast. It is truly adapt or die is the name of the game, especially when you have to play for at least 13 rounds.
Yeah.
Very likely much more than that, because
Oh, yeah.
you're very unlikely to see 13-0 or something crazy
Yeah.
like that. But
Especially with how the last game went, like they ended the first half 7-5.
yeah.
We're not gonna see like a 13-3 here. I don't expect that.
Oh yeah. Definitely not from either side, no matter who wins this round. Like I said, both teams have shown that they're pretty capable and also on a pretty even footing.
Yeah, unfortunately, Flash there and having to peek there. Killjoy is able to get a pick.
One enemy
there, short
remaining.
and out, so we have B5. Really rough.
Yeah, I say UCSB Red kind of just wiping out Lavender's team, unfortunately, before they even had to plant a spike. Like I said, it is a tough position to play
Yeah.
from defense here.
But yeah, it is. GCU is down quite a bit. It's gonna be hard to take back this half. They definitely can't make it even, but we may see some momentum. Why did she waste an updraft?
Hey, she's just palling around, you know.
Just plowing around. Taking out that KJ util is just placed in the same spot. Interesting.
That updraft is essentially like that double jump.
She was a Mario double jump.
Yeah,
That's just abilities.
Mario double jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was able to use it to
She
get.
goes hop hop, and then if she steps on a mushroom,
Yeah, we saw
she'll get bigger.
But yeah, we saw very early in the game where she had used it to jump onto. Actually, that exact thing that we just walked in front of. To jump on top of that and kind of gain a high ground while looking down at a smoke that the enemy team was peeking behind.
We're gonna see this Silverdrone to kind of get information. He saw one of them peek out box, but just did not get too much information here. Ray's getting stunned with a freeze util. And ult is just gonna be. It's 2v3, 1v3 now in favor of GCU Lavender, especially with that smoke there. It's gonna be really difficult.
I say GCU trying to defuse and take out the enemy team at the same time, and it's just barely able to manage it. Because at first it was like, okay, they're pulling ahead with defusing, and they're doing a great job with the gunfire. But then the person defusing got killed, so it's like, well, mow off the last person, and that'll make defusing a much easier task to manage for GCU Lavender as they take that round.
If it was still a 1v1, we may not have seen that end the way that it was. But they were able to, she was able to get that pick and defuse a spike in time. So good round from Lavender here. It got pretty close. I'd say like all of the rounds that Lavender has been able to win, I don't think any of them have been clean sweeps, as some of Red's wins have been. So it is interesting to see how different this is from Fracture. It might just be that it's just not as strong of a map from GCU Lavender here as Fracture is, because we're just not seeing that kind of same like butting heads that we saw.
That is a good way of putting it.
But yeah, Red is pushing up a main. See, I love the vision. You see the little red spot on C main?
Yeah.
There's nobody there. There's nobody there. Who's looking there? God.
Yeah, God is Jesus. He says everything. No, that's the fruit punch Rockstar flavor.
Oh, true. Yeah.
I spilled a little. Sorry.
My bad, guys. I spilled my Rockstar on the map.
Yeah, I mean, I joke, but I truly can't. We truly can't thank enough Rockstar for presenting this event to all of our lovely watchers and allowing these women in gaming to put on the great games that we're seeing right now.
What the flip was that?
Say, especially as this game itself is getting really down to the wire. With GCU Lavender beginning a defuse.
Yeah, she's gonna try and stick, but with those KJ mollies, see if she's able to make it past, but attackers are able to take off the rest of the
So I believe it was over half,
so
but it was actually over half, but the rest of the team is picked off, so they're not going to be able to finish that diffusion, and UCSB Red is taking another game, 7-3.
Diffusion?
Diffusion.
Diffusal.
Diffusal?
Diffusion is like, yeah, let me
like
get
the-
my diffuser out.
yeah, I was-
Put my essential oils into my air.
Well, I was thinking more so like, you know, it was like fusion, nuclear fusion. Like nuclear fission.
Oh, see, that would make sense.
But to be fair, there's no such thing as nuclear diffusion, right?
Like,
you-
I suppose you could defuse things. I think that's just called like atom splitting.
Yeah, I was say that. Well, that's that's nuclear fission.
Fission. But that's like making them together, right?
No, that's
That's
nuclear
like
fusion.
Fusion. Is fission the opposite of fusion?
I don't know.
I don't care. Anyways,
They
Red is
they
sitting
defizzed.
back. They defizzed the bomb. We're seeing an A push.
They didn't
here
defizz
from
the bomb.
Red.
That was critical.
Yeah, pushing up. A
Still
couple
there.
of them made. Yeah, the vision code is still there. It's funny.
I was like, someone's still
Get
looking.
your wipe off your Rockstar.
I'm
bro.
sorry. I just enjoyed the
Wipe it
Rockstar
off
fruit
of
punch
the
flavor
mini
so
map,
much that I had
please.
to just spill it all over C.
Yeah.
I
We
was-
saw a slight push up A main from Red here, but it looks like they're rotating. I don't
Just
know what happened to cause this, but it looks like they're gonna go garage, maybe C. But unfortunately, there is a lot of defense there to kind of slow their entry and not allow them to get that plant down. Throwing out that Sova dart, marking here. We're gonna try and wall. Ooh, and she doesn't wall bang, but she's picked off there.
30 seconds left.
And now it is 4v3.
Okay, very close game so far, especially with no spike planted. GCU
Yeah,
Lavender now
that's-
taking the even heavier advantage of 4v2.
Yeah. It's just not looking good here for Red. Oof.
I would say not watching the direction that they were just
10
hiding
seconds
in.
left.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. Putting up that KJ util is a 2v3,
Planted.
so not a huge number
UCSB
advantage, but
Red
when there's only
finally-
2, it's gonna be a little
I
difficult.
would say UCSB Red finally planning with about 4 seconds left.
Yeah. Because you are not looking for trades here, you are looking for picks, especially when there's only 2 of you left.
As I said, if it's a trade, you will now. With
see.
only one teammate left.
Here
I would say
we go. Oof.
walking right into that smoke, very unfortunate. A member of UCSB Red was ready to pick her off, and now it's
Yeah.
2v2. I don't know how feasible it'll be for Lavender to defuse at this point. They might
Yeah,
have
getting
to.
picked off window, now it's a 2v1. They do have time to defuse a spike if they go now.
They go
If
now,
this pick now.
but the clock is
And
ticking.
oh, and they're not able to get the pick there, and the spike is going to
Detonate. But also,
Last
it's just
round
because
before the
now
switch.
Yeah.
attackers. Like I said, attackers when you have a little bit less to balance, and it's
Yeah.
made it a very
So-
rough time for GCU Lavender there.
So if Red wins this round, we may see a 9-3 curse. Interesting taking a timeout in the last one before the.
Like I said,
Before
timeouts
the
were
switch.
definitely necessary. We honestly, it might have been good to see one earlier.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not too shabby to see one now.
Yeah.
Because like you mentioned, it's 8-3. That means just like last time, UCSB Red is much closer to entering their end state than GCU Lavender is.
They probably honestly want to take the timeout so that they still have one in the next half, but they
Exactly.
may be
That's
taking
that-
this
it's ve-
opportunity to talk
yeah.
about their strategy kind of for the next half and
Because with
how to take
timeouts,
this round.
it's like, why not? Why not
Yeah,
use it? You
if
you
you
have
have it.
one per half.
It's
might
like
as
you
well
just want to
use it.
interrupt their momentum, really.
Exactly.
It's-
I was like, because you get so
like,
much momentum.
there's no
You can discuss strategy. You can
con.
interrupt their momentum. You can create your own momentum. There's just plenty of benefits to
Yeah.
it. So it makes a lot of sense that GCU Lavender would put it out to try and stop what UCSB Red is running away with.
Yeah, and we've seen 3 timeouts this matchup from GCU.
I
and
say all from
0
GCU Lavender, none from
from-
Red. Yeah.
from CSB, USBC, Red.
So we're getting good at saying UCSB and not
UCSB. Yeah, but we're getting back in now. Got 8 seconds before the round starts, and we are seeing. It is unfortunate, but I believe that GC Lavender is having to save this round, which is not too good.
Once again, like I said, very much a mirror of the first game,
Yeah.
where it is once again you are saving on the round where you're about
Yeah.
to switch over. It's not quite as unfortunate as the first game where they were saving on the round you have to win or the opponent just wins the game. It was match
Yeah.
point. That was even more unfortunate. But this is not. They're not sitting pretty here either. With like I said, just no time
Yeah.
no time to
Vandals
save
versus
when you have to.
Bulldogs.
Yeah.
You really just have to get timing or a good peak in order to win that gunfight. Especially when both teams have demonstrated that they have pretty even, I think, gunplay.
Like I said, definitely even footing these two teams. So even GCU Lavender being the team with the better record, UCSB Red is
They're playing incredibly strong.
beginning to pull and also beginning to pull ahead in the series. In the
Yeah,
set,
if they're
I
able to
should
take
say.
this, they're able to take this game and be their first win of the series, which could put them on a pretty good
That's what-
track, especially going
30
further.
seconds left.
That's what I was emphasizing between games, how really crucial this is for both of them. Not only just this game, but just this whole set, this series. The set within the series, really, because it is Lavender bringing themselves up from 1-2 to 2-2. Evening out your record right now is very important to try
Getting
and
a pick.
kind of
Getting
try and
two picks there from Tiana off of that flash,
Say-
and they were able to defuse with 4 of their teammates still alive. Sorry to interrupt you. That was just.
Oh
really
no,
exciting.
it's totally okay, because I was just about to mention Lavender taking a round win again off the heels of that timeout. Exactly what they
Yeah,
needed
these
in
are
this
all
round,
big.
despite having to save.
Sides.
And so I was mentioning is that Lavender's trying to eat at their record. However, UCSB Red is trying to take their first of the series, so it really shows why both teams have to fight so tooth and nail if they want to like just stay with better records for the rest of the series. Especially GCU Lavender trying to make it even, whereas UCSB Red are already a little behind in the series, unfortunately. But as we mentioned, this could be their ticket to get back
Yeah.
ahead.
Because we're seeing GCU Lavender on attack now, and UC Red is going to be defending. And their defense on Fracture was pretty strong, but honestly, with the way that things have changed for Lavender from the last map to this map, we may see their defense a little bit weaker on Haven. We may see, honestly, stronger. We'll just see how this round plays out, how they're able to play off this, especially on more even footing with the pistols.
Yes, UCSB Red proved themselves capable of winning on offense and defense last game, and we might see that play out in this game as well. But Lavender, it was their offensive phase last game where
Yeah.
they were much closer in pace with UCSB Red in terms of they were able to win more back-to-back more quickly.
And it definitely is an attacker-sided map when you have sites
I
that are
say
able to
3 whole
plant.
sites.
Yeah, the attacking side doesn't have that much space that they're able to take off of the bat, but they have, like, initially they don't have that much space, but when you have 3 sites that you're able to plant like that.
That's why I mentioned it was honestly a little unfortunate that Lavender would have to start
Yeah.
defending in the first place. We already discussed how much.
Down.
The fact is that with defense, you really have a clock ticking over your head. And obviously, it's hard to plant spike as well. It's no easy task. You kind of have to run into a position that your opponents might always be watching.
Nice,
especially
getting a
if you-
headshot wall bang with
Especially
a
if the
ghost.
person carrying spike gets picked off.
They're rushing those ghost shots, not the smoothest way to get those picks, but
Last player
it
standing.
is now a 1v1, and
Very
Lavender takes the first pistol round.
incredibly
First
clutch.
time this matchup that they've been able to take the pistol round, and honestly,
And
that might set them up for
Actually,
pretty
that was
good.
very clutch because it was I was just thinking that it's like in a 1v2, it's like you really honestly it's like you kind of want to let that clock play out for as long as you can before they bring themselves in range to defuse it, and they did.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it seemed like they were just trying to bait the defuse to try and get her to peek out so the
Yeah, they
so the other
definitely-
member of their team could just pick her off, but then that person got picked off
Yeah.
and the person was still like a sitting duck over trying to defuse. So a very clutch situation.
Yeah, very good attacking round
GCU
from
Lavender.
Lavender there. They got a lot of picks early. Obviously, they got picked off a lot early, but they were able to get kind of more of those kills quicker than they were able to on Fracture. So ultimately,
GCU
those
Lavender continuing
getting a
push.
pick through smoke with that Bulldog is going to be
Again, GCU
really
Lavender
good.
continuing to keep these not only these games close, but this or rather these rounds close, but these games close to try and really keep themselves in the set by taking this this game in total, or at the very least making this a very exciting game to watch.
Yeah, with only one defender on B site, getting them picked off early is going to be really good for Lavender. Not a Kana, but I want to say that. Dang!
Dang,
Not able to spray through that wall, but getting
Say they
then 2 picks with a spray transfer from GCU's Raze. Very, honestly, really good
So
company there.
GCU's
and
Riz, I
they're
think that was
winning.
3 picks in total there.
Yeah, that was a 3K right there for Raze, and 2 of them were from a spray transfer, so that was honestly really cool. To
I
see
think we've
because
actually
I
seen
can't
this
do
race.
that.
I think we actually saw this race put up similar performances in the previous game, where it was kind of just like
Yeah.
I was like, all right, so occasionally I'll get my opponents in just the right position where there's 3
Yeah.
of them pinned to the wall. I'll just mow them all down.
And honestly, as the duelist, that's kind of her role is
Oh,
to
yeah.
frag out. Yeah, they're not doing as well frags wise as Red is, but obviously Red is winning. So we may see this. We will likely see this turnaround if
You
Lavender is able to take.
You almost
some more.
messed me up. I was like, Red, but they're and I was like, oh no, they're attacking.
Yeah, the red team that is currently not red.
Yeah, the blue-red team.
The blue-red team. You see the vision cone is still there.
It is. Oh yeah, but that's blue.
Yeah, is it the sour candy apple? Is that what that one looks like? I don't know.
It is. It's the Exterrance Super Sour Green
Extra
Apple.
super sour green
Excuse
apple.
me.
Okay, so I'm so sorry. So probably not. Wait, what did you spill? Water. It's your water. You spilled
Water's
it on
not
the minute.
blue anyway. My water's
The ocean is. Ooh, unfortunately missing that short shot, especially in close range, so kind of difficult.
UCSB Red having a lead in terms of agent count, which is actually now just turned around by GCU Lavender. And like I said, like I was just about to pull in, GCU Lavender is already having the spike planted, really making the clock tick on
Especially
UCSB
when
Red.
when they know where she is going to be. It is not looking good here for Red's Killjoy. Everybody knows where she is. Everybody knows
say,
where she's
GCU
gonna
Lavender
peek
has her.
from. She's going to have to try
Yeah,
very hard.
Lavender has her pinned down. That clock
Yeah.
is ticking and ticking. And
Yeah, especially
she is-
holding that
she is-
cross.
I was gonna say, I was like, that's a. I was like, yeah, they were
Yeah.
cross position. It was just gonna be very difficult, especially because she turned around. That means putting her back to a member of Lavender, and Lavender
Yeah.
takes that pick. They are now only 1 round behind. This game
Yeah,
is getting
they-
closer and closer.
They have won the past 3 rounds in a row,
Yes.
which is, or the past 4,
Yeah.
actually, because the last one of the half they won that. So they are just doing really, really strongly in this attack half. It is exciting to see the momentum change because UCSB has been ahead kind of this entire time. So it's interesting to see some differentiating in the way that the rounds are playing out.
We see now a lot of GCU Lavender pushing A, but they are kind of splitting up. Remember, still rotating, trying to gain information on UCSB Red.
It looks like most of Lavender is currently trying to push out a main, and only one of Red's defenders is there on site. We see some contact there. She gets a pick on Omen there in short, but 2 of the attackers, they pick her off there on main, and the rest of UCSB Red is rotating quite fast through main and short, getting 1 pick off in short.
Say
And
Spike's
they're
still not
on site now.
Spike's still not planted. That's kind of what happened last game, is that Lavender
Yeah.
had an agent disadvantage, but the spike was planted, which brought UCSB Red into their hands, which allowed them
Yeah.
to flip that advantage. They're definitely trying to push that now as we see them rotate
Yeah,
all the way to C.
They quickly rotated all the way across the map to get that plant down before UCSB is able to get there.
So now
Bring
they have
out
to
that breach util to kind of clear garage and
honestly also try and
Yeah.
gain information of where UCSB Red could be coming from, because
Yeah.
even though they're kind of like just laying in the lion's den right now,
Mhm.
they could still come from either direction, and you
Yeah, and
definitely
they
don't want to
know-
lose any picks right now.
yeah, they know that
Player
there's
standing.
one main because they just got that pick and they started the breach util earlier. And now it is a 1v2 for GCU's
Yeah, this
Raze, who has been performing really well this
That's-
half. So
that's
we
what I
may
was just
see
mentioning.
her
It was actually
pull out
1v
this 1v2, and she unfortunately gets traded
not quite.
immediately.
UCSB Red still has the opportunity to defuse, and they will have the time as well.
Yeah,
And
they
that's
do.
what I was saying, is that it was a 1v3, which we saw Raze put up performances in before.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in the specific position, she was not able to do it this time.
Especially,
And
they
UCSB
were,
Red, fortunately
yeah.
for them, takes another round, breaking that momentum the Lavender was off.
yeah, Red was positioned very well for that trade. It looks like GC's going to be taking their second timeout of the game, first of the half. And after this momentum, honestly, it's interesting that they are taking a timeout.
Well, it is looking good for Lavender so far overall in the series, but that is what I was saying beforehand, that they needed to pull out that timeout much earlier in the first half so that they didn't kind of fall behind. And now that they are catching up, it's nice for them to be pulling out a timeout when the lead honestly isn't so big.
Yeah.
Because now if it gives them that momentum push and that strategical advantage, they'll be able to close that gap and then finally take the lead in this set.
Yeah, and it might
Win this
be,
game, I should say.
It might be too to keep them from overheating, because if they get too excited about their lead and their win streak, they may get a little too
That kind of panned out because
overconfident.
we saw them win a good few rounds in a row with
Yeah.
UCSB Red now breaking that streak. So like I said, it's just a very, very good opportunity to slip in a timeout.
Yeah, so I am hoping that this timeout doesn't interrupt their momentum.
I think, like I said, I don't think that will be the
thing.
case because, like I mentioned, you already have UCSB Red kind of breaking that up with another round win for them. It's now 9-7. They are both now encroaching on the end game of this game.
Yeah, we are getting end game of the game. We're getting pretty close to the final round here. Still a few rounds away, but if Lavender is able to turn this round, we may go into overtime.
Even Lavender
UCSB
losing
is
that
able to
last
perform.
game, they were actually honestly bringing it very close with how they were able to so speedily rotate 2C.
Yeah.
It's just UCSB Red had the better positioning on mixing up where they were coming in from and just taking them out.
Yeah, I'd say it feels like Lavender is playing a lot more confident on the attacker side. So on defense, obviously
That's
they're
honestly
play a
what I
little bit more
predicted with-
passive on defense, but they just, it's not even like how passive or aggressive they're playing. It's honestly they just feel a lot more strong and confident on attack.
That is honestly what I predicted in the case that, like, it was unfortunate to see them having play defense first, which is where they were losing a little more the first game.
Yeah.
And the fact was just that we saw them be able to keep it much closer while they were on the attacking side, and UCSB was on the defending side. So it is definitely advantageous for them to be in this position right now, where even though they are 2 rounds behind, they are very close to encroaching on a win on this game.
1v5 now.
Yeah.
She's smoked off. They know she's there. So is
I was
gonna
thinking,
throw
yeah,
a shock dart.
Say they know exactly where she is. There's not really an
Yeah.
easy escape route for her to rotate around. She's
Yeah.
smoked out. She's now having to come
Especially
down this way. They have
then-
she has 3
yeah,
guns
Lavender-
trained on her sight, but 5 total
Oh,
attackers.
goodness. And they're all gonna save.
I would say she is moving all the way to C. I think again, like I said, it might just be a case where it's like you kind of just don't want to let them pick you
Yeah.
for economy's
And
sake.
you want to save your gun, and you don't want them to get a kill. You don't want to.
That's what I was saying. That there are many cases where you have to make the decision of, do I try to take as many as I can down with me, or do I try to avoid giving them the benefit of killing me? And it is the case where it's like a Lavender. A lot of times they would just go like, all right, I'm going for it. Give me the 1v3. I want the smoke. Not that kind of smoke, but I want the smoke. Whereas we see UCSB Red kind of taking the defensive play of, I am not winning the 1v5. I am just going to run across the map and hope they don't pursue me. And it's funny because they actually did pursue her. Because like I said, they had 3 guns trained on where she already was. And yeah, they're moving just in case. They were like, well, let's just see how she moves. Let's see if she comes around the other lane. But moving into this next round, it's now 9-8. Again, only 1 round behind.
And we're seeing a pretty strong A push as UCSB Red is just not on site there. It looks, I don't know if they had someone there in the beginning and they rotated off, or if they just weren't there in the first place, but Raze is holding CT pretty strongly, especially through that smoke. Is going to be really good for that pick, but I believe that they just had a team that got to get a pick through smoke. They unfortunately, Raze walked just a little too close to the smoke, so they saw the tip of the barrel of her gun, and was able to shoot it through that smoke.
Barely too close. They did not know that member of UCSB Red already in there, but now she loses her life as well. And Lavender is now up 3-0.
Yeah, they were able to, even though they got that pick CT, the 2 sitting
I'm intrigued
heaven.
to see if we'll finally see Red call a timeout, or if they've just decided that they're not really going to use that resource, because they haven't so far. And but like I mentioned, there's no like detriment to doing it right now. And the real fact of the matter, however, is though, honestly, as I was saying, the fact that this is even right now shows that no matter who loses, they intend to keep it very close. If GCU Lavender wins this game, they will bring it to game 3, and that'll be close. If UCSB Red wins this game, that will not have been done without Lavender just riding their tail the entire time, making it super close. Well played from both sides, truly. And I'm really excited to see now who takes the advantage here, because we have not seen GCU Lavender be able to play from the lead this matchup so far.
And yeah, honestly, I was looking at the KDs in the buy phase, and Raze, GCU's Raze is actually doing incredible. I believe she is like 28-12, which is like not the craziest that I've seen, but that's really good, especially when you're playing against teams this good.
Like we said, they were just GCU Lavender just showed themselves to be much better suited to playing on the offensive.
Ooh, unfortunately getting, yikes, that was rough. Why is defense in Garage so strong? But yeah, now it's a 2v4, and both of Lavender's attackers are currently back C main as KJ watches, and
we
the
see
rest
that Red
of
kind of
GCSB Red is rotating.
I say we see the Red rotating their team to have people in C, B, and A, make it even harder for GCU Lavender to really peek in, as it's 4v2.
Looks like Lavender is also going to rotate, so if It could be unfortunate timing here if they cross paths while both teams are
30
rotating.
seconds left.
30 seconds left to
Yeah.
plant that spike. It looks like they are choosing A as their route, but
Yes.
they still have the opportunity to move to B. Definitely not going to see it plant C.
Yeah, they definitely making a lot of noise here as they push because they don't have a lot of time. But if they're able to get this plant down and then defend it,
10 seconds left on the clock.
yeah, they're gonna get that plant down.
This plan
if
will
they're not-
execute. Not
Oh,
quite.
no!
5 seconds left.
Yeah, they
Only
don't get
3
the- they
ticking
don't get
down.
the
They're
plant. There's
losing the
not enough
opportunity to
time.
plant, and UCSB Red takes
Ooh.
the round.
Yeah, getting traded and then getting.
Honestly,
getting
like you
both
said,
off.
taking as many picks as possible, bringing it so it's only 2-0 at the very
Yeah.
end. That puts them in a little better position in the bye phase.
Yeah,
We're
but
gonna
that
look at
is
KDs
only-
real quick.
Oh, that is only the second round that UCSB.
I almost thought that
Red
said
has.
38 and 12. And I went, good heavens!
Yeah,
And
no,
I was like,
Raze
oh,
is
it's
currently
28.
28 and 13, and the top frag on the other team, KJ, is currently, I believe that's 18
and 11. Yeah.
So yeah, Raze is doing really well, especially coming off of that many round wins. Yeah, she's got a lot of picks.
Yeah, I was like, especially considering they have been overall behind the set. Lavender's still, like, Lavender's Race putting up numbers.
Yes, big numbers. This, you know, the stats guy where it's like the mannequin head, and he's like stocks.
I do know that guy.
I love the stocks guy. It looks like we're
This-
seeing a B push here from
As like
UC Lavender.
the term I prefer than any time someone is like asking to like do like a task well, you just say, oh, they're putting up LeBron numbers. like,
LeBron
Spike
numbers.
planted.
like as
How will this affect LeBron's legacy?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how tied to value is. Anyways, we see Lavender really encroaching on B. They have already found their spike, and UCSB Red is
Ooh.
trying to find their way in.
Four opponents here. Throwing out those dogs on the Trailblazer. That is, gosh, 2 KJ ults and a fade getting dogs. And,
A lot
ooh,
of
blinded sitting in that corner
contact, a
getting
lot of util,
pieced.
a lot of ult. It's all over
And
the
she's picked
recent
off with that
save.
Raze ult, and Raze unfortunately is also picked off. They're going to get defused
I say just enough time to defuse.
as
They leave
Red
it cap.
takes the round.
It's funny them swapping off.
Yeah.
Almost just barely gave them not enough time.
Nah, they had plenty of time. I think it was too.
You've mentioned
Well, I
where
mean,
you-
we'll see.
I said we've talked before. It's not quite as short as it feels,
Yeah.
even though it
I
is shorter
wonder
than you'd expect.
why-
It's
that
just that sound puts so much pressure on you
Yes.
when you're on defense.
Yeah, was that Jet that was defusing originally?
Yeah.
And then she switched to Kid. I wonder why, because Jet, if she defused there, would have gotten her ult this round. And
That's what I was thinking. Is that they were definitely switching for a good reason to like preserve
maybe,
resource
but
and bolster one of the others. But it's like
that was
I'm just
interesting.
like, but why?
She's probably wanted it.
Yeah, it was. It's possible that it wasn't even. Yeah, it wasn't even
Yeah.
resource management. It was kind of just like
I wanna.
I just want to.
That's probably what it was, honestly, because when Jet's 1 point off ult and gives it to somebody else, like, whatever. His cage is only 3 out of 8 now. But it looks like Lavender's playing ult. We're seeing them leave spike, and it looks like they're just looking for
It is getting really down to the wire here as UCSB Red is 11 and 9, really nearing that end state of the game, making things pretty dire for Lavender. Even as close as they are, they need to keep in this 2-game range and not fall behind. So this is going to be a crucial round for them to win, especially if they can then turn that into profit and pull themselves back into a lead. Because we only really saw them get to play out a lead for 1 or 2 games in the entire, like really across the whole set so far.
Yeah, we're gonna see. Lavender needs to take quite a few rounds here.
Taking
Just
at
so
least
that
with this
if-
one is crucial to keep in the in the range of 2.
Yeah, because if they get to match point and they're already down by
That's
2,
very
it's-
unfortunate. A member of UCSB Red, Hanji, being able to pin down 2 of Lavender's teammates.
yeah.
Now making this 5v3 without spike planted and only 20 seconds left on the clock to get that
And
executed. It looks
Lavender
like they are
is
choosing C.
rotating to C.
Yeah.
Where KJ is turning. She's got her set up. Ooh, just to delay that entry. That Raze spot is gonna, okay, not die.
10 seconds left.
But they're gonna get the plant down. Just narrowly missing.
So they are
KJ
trying to
Molly
get the
getting
plant
picked
down,
off,
and they just
KJ
barely do
sitting
10
on spike
seconds
by
left.
herself, and they're getting a defuse because she gets picked off. This is not looking too good for Lavender here. They as like good as they have been playing this half, they are now at match point, and they are down enough that if they lose this next one, they lose a game, and
Exactly.
UCSB Red is able
That's
to
what I
get
was saying,
their
that
first
them-
win of the series.
That they are bringing this to match point, and that is very difficult, but this is their last chance to stay in it by, again, keeping in that 2-game range.
Yeah, they
and
now have to
hopefully
win
pull themselves up.
at least 2 more, so that if Red wins a round,
Yes.
that they won't immediately lose. So
Yeah.
they'll have to win this round and the next
And
round.
the next. That's a
and
lot of
then-
pressure. And UCSB Red, honestly, I'm just saying, they still have a timeout.
Yeah.
Like, so it's...
Well, actually, they'll have to win the next 3 because if UCSB Red wins, they'll get 13, so they have to go to 12.
Yeah.
So they have to win 3 rounds in a row. Lavender will have to get, and that is honestly, they pulled it out
Very
at the beginning of the
difficult
half, but these past few rounds has been difficult to kind of get that momentum.
I
back.
say it's not that they won't be able to they won't be able to put up for the next few
Yeah.
games. It's more so just that it's just a difficult task that has been put in front
Yeah.
of them, and we will see if they are able to execute. But UCSB Red is still playing a pretty solid game, despite
Yeah.
how tough Lavender is making it.
Yeah, throwing
for
out that breach ult is going to be really good. Omen is ulting just for more info, it looks like. But yeah, that was really good ults from both of them. We're going to see that more. Breach util, and that's a 4v5 for Lavender, 3v5
Thankfully,
for
the spike has
Lavender.
already been. Thankfully for Lavender, the spike has already been planted, so the clock is
Yes.
ticking for UCSB Red. But as
With
these
those
pick,
KJ mollies, just delaying, honestly, the timing there. And there's another one. So they're not able to get that diffused, but they are going to diffuse this and take the second game of the match and their first win of the series.
with a solid 2-0 against Lavender. Like
Yeah.
I mentioned, not without a tough fight from Lavender. Lavender putting
Yeah.
up really good numbers, really good games for the entire series.
Yeah.
And Red being able to win despite that is still
Yeah.
pretty impressive, I have to say.
They played very strongly, and they honestly, I would say that they deserved this win.
Yeah.
Their first win of the series. They are now 1-4, and GCU will be 1-3 in next week's when we have the week 3 standings. We'll get to look upon that.
And it'll be very
sadly.
interesting to see how the other teams in the
Yeah.
in the series also evolve from their games this week into next week.
Yeah.
And you definitely got to be there next week.
Please come next week. I'm gonna be here. It'll be spring break, but
Oh,
I'm
me
gonna
too,
be here.
'cause it's
Oh
spring
wait,
break.
you're
Yeah,
gonna-
yeah, 'cause it's spring break. Yeah, it's
we'll
spring
see you
break, so
next
that's
week.
what's
It's gonna be
important to
awesome. But
So
yeah,
that,
next week at 7 p.m. we will
March
have
16th, Thursday, like always.
first ever week 4 of the first ever Purple Rain Valorant series, of which is the first ever women's only collegiate Valorant League, presented by Rockstar Energy Drink.
That's what
who
I said,
we are
it's
so
It's
grateful
as
to have supporting us through this.
It's as
yeah.
it is probably as good a time as any to take another word from our sponsors. Because like I said, we just can't thank enough Rockstar for presenting this whole series for us. $5,000 on the line. That's what's generating the excitement for this
Yeah.
league. It's again, it's 2 parts. There's first ever women's only history in the making. Then there's second part.
$5,000
And then
bullion.
the third part is just a game we all like to play. It's really fun to discuss.
Valorant.
So thanks so much for Rockstar for presenting
Yeah.
this amazing event.
But yeah, thank you so much for watching this week's matchup. We are super excited to be bringing you week 4 next week, and we will see you there March 16th, 7 p.m., same place, same time. We will see you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.